The robbers do not watch the treasures. They do not watch each other. They watch the flame. According to legend, if the flame goes out, it means the spirit of the dead has rejected them. The ghost has blown out the lamp. And they must leave immediately or face death. For centuries, this belief was passed down among grave robbers as secret law. But when we look closely, this so-called supernatural rule turns out to be something far more real and far more terrifying. It was not a ghost watching them. It was the tomb itself. That candle is not only a symbol of fear, it is a silent test, the air. In a space sealed for centuries, the flame becomes the first thing to suffer. And when it dies, it warns that a human body may be next. This is why one of the oldest superstitions in tomb raiding is also one of the most practical survival tools ever invented. Ancient tombs were sealed environments, closed for decades or even centuries. Oxygen slowly disappeared, while carbon dioxide and other gases from decay accumulated inside. A flame cannot survive in such conditions. When a candle suddenly goes out, it is not a curse, it is a warning. The air is no longer safe to breathe. Anyone who stays inside risks suffocation within minutes. Long before people understood chemistry, they had already discovered this deadly truth through painful experience. They used fire as a leaving alarm. Over time, this survival method was transformed into legend. What was once a simple physical reaction became a supernatural message from the dead. Yet the tomb's dangers do not end with air. A tomb is an engineered trap of silence, collapsing tunnels, sealed chambers, toxic vapors, and darkness, so complete it can erase direction and time. This is why tomb raiding evolved into a profession with rules, tools, and harsh internal discipline. The candle was only the beginning. Another mystery is why the candle must be placed in the southeast corner. This too has a practical explanation. Most traditional Chinese tombs were built facing south because south symbolized life and warmth. Grave robbers usually entered from the southern side, where the tomb door was weakest. Most people are right-handed, and in total darkness, the lamp was their most precious tool. When entering the tomb and setting it down quickly, it naturally ended up to the right of the entrance, often in the southeast corner. Over generations, a habit became a rule, and a rule became secret tradition. What little robbers followed as Rachel was originally simple human behavior shaped by fear and darkness. But once a habit becomes tradition, tradition becomes identity. Soon, only certain groups were believed to be real professionals, not just desperate thieves. And this is where the name Morzin enters the story, and where the legend becomes entangled with political power. Tomb robbing in China didn't exist because people were evil. It existed because society created perfect conditions for it. The Chinese believed death was another form of life. Families buried their dead with gold, jade, silk, weapons, and even food. The richer the family, the more lavish the tomb. These underground treasures attracted people who were poor, desperate, or greedy. Whenever wars, famine, or political kills occurred, tomb robbing increased dramatically. It became a shadow economy that rose whenever the living world collapsed. In peaceful times, tomb raiding might be small and secret. In chaotic times, it becomes an industry. And at the worst moments of history, it becomes something even darker, something organized, disciplined, and protected by authority. The earliest known tomb robbing record appears in texts from the late Zhou dynasty. A jade seal stolen from a tomb was passed to the famous Qin official Li Si, who studied its ancient characters. This shows that grave robbing existed even in the earliest periods of recorded history. Over time, robbers come from all levels of society: peasants, bandits, soldiers, and even government officials. Tomb robbing was never only a criminal activity. It was also a reflection of social collapse and human survival. And that last group, government officials and armies, leads us directly to the most controversial, most famous identity in tomb raiding history, the Mo-Jing. The name Mo-Jing is often described as an official tomb robbing title, but its historical origin is complex. One of the most famous references appears in the political proclamation written by Chen Lin during the late Han period. He accused the warlord Cao Cao of creating special positions called Fa Qiu Zhongliangjiang and Mo Jin Xiao Wei to dig up ancient tombs for wealth. However, this task was propaganda meant to damage Cao Cao's reputation. Some historians argue that there is no clear evidence these were real government offices. Yet the accusation itself reveals something important. People believed powerful forces were involved in systematic tomb robbery, not just criminals. And this is where the story becomes truly chilling, because even if we treat Chen Lin's words as political exaggeration, the logic behind them faced the reality of that era. This was the end of the Han dynasty. Massive civil war, constant betrayal, endless military campaigns. Cao Cao enrolled one of the largest armies in China, feeding soldiers, paying officers, moving supplies. This required a river of money. In war, ideology is expensive, but survival is even more expensive. So imagine the brutal calculation. Why struggle to mint new wealth when the wealth of past emperors is already buried beneath the ground? Why fight inflation, taxation, and logistics when the dead have already stored gold, jade, and rare objects in sealed vaults? In that mindset, ancient royal tombs are not sacred. They are locked treasures. Emperors of the past become unwilling bankers, and the tomb raiders become state accountants with shovels. This is why the Mo-Jin legend feels so real, because it describes something that human history repeatedly shows us. When a state is desperate enough, it will consume its own past to find its future. If Cao Cao truly created Mo Jin Xiao Wei and Fa Qiu Zhongliangjiang, then these were not random criminals. They were official, disciplined teams. The job was to find the richest tools, excavate them with precision, and deliver the treasure to the war machine. The romance disappears. What remains is a cold system. But if these teams existed, they faced the same problems every tomb raider faced. And that is where their three great secrets began. Since they were the best in the business, they couldn't just guess where to dig. They needed tools and knowledge that seemed like magic to ordinary people. They had three main secrets, and each secret was a solution to a deadly problem. The first secret was the Luoyang shovel. It looks like a simple metal's hook on a stick, but it is an engineering marvel. They push it into the ground twist it, and pull out a perfect, undisturbed cylinder of soil, sometimes from astonishing depths. For Master Magin, the soil column is a book. They can smell it and see the layers. They know black, crumbly soil can mean rotate wood from a coffin. They know a thick, unnaturally hard layer may mean the ground has been rammed. One of the key methods used to build strong tomb walls. With this tool, they could read the blueprint of a tomb without opening it. And that meant fewer mistakes, less noise, and fewer deaths. But even the Luoyang shovel cannot tell you everything. It can hint. It cannot guarantee. So the second secret was feng shui, the wind and water tradition, where the true mystery begins. Tomb raiders never used maps the way modern people do. They used a deep understanding of landscape patterns, which they called Shen Lang Jue, the dragon-seeking art. In this theory, mountains are the dragon veins, and rivers are the dragon blood. The well-sized tombs were believed to be built where these natural forces gathered, where a mountain wraps around a river, where the land forms a protective embrace. That point was the dragon's lair. If you could find the lair, you could find the tomb. But knowledge alone doesn't defeat fear. Even the most experienced raiders tremble when they step into darkness. That is why the third secret existed. Small, magical-seeming tricks, like carrying a special powder or black dog's blood. They believed these substances could ward off low-level spirits and clear the path. To outsiders, it looks like superstition, but to the tomb raiders, it also served practical purpose. It calmed the mind, created ritual discipline, and gave them courage to function in a place designed to break human sanity. Yet even with these three secrets, their survival could still be destroyed by one tiny object. But all their technology and feng shui could be rendered useless by one single tiny object: a candle. This is the most famous rule of the Mo Jin. When you finally break into the main burial chamber, your very first act is to place a lit candle in the southeast corner. Like we mentioned earlier, oxygen slowly disappeared, while carbon dioxide and other gases from decay accumulated inside. A flame cannot survive in such conditions. If the candle flickers and goes out, you must stop immediately. Leave everything you have touched and get out. Spiritually, this is a contract. The candle represents your life force, and the smoke is your offering. When it goes out, it means the master of the tomb has refused the offering and rejected your presence. The dead are telling you, you're not welcome here. If you refuse to leave, you will face consequences that do not need a ghost to happen, because the tomb has already begun to kill. And now we reach the final question. If the candle rule exists, if the secrets exist, and if even states may have used tomb raiders, then what did these people truly fear? So, what were their biggest fears? Not ghosts. They had part of that. The biggest fears were very real, highly engineered death traps and silent dangers that cannot be negotiated. One fear was the silent river of death. The legendary water galaxy of liquid mercury described around the first emperor's tomb. Mercury emits toxic vapor. Entering such a chamber would mean breathing in a slow, lethal poison. It is a silent death created by emperor's own tragedy, a trap that doesn't need arrows or blades. Another fear was the endless arrows. Ancient engineers could line tunnels with repeating crossbows designed to fire automatically when a tile is stepped on or a wire is pulled. It is like walking into an ancient machine gun nest, except the machine has been waiting in silence for centuries. But the final and deepest fear was breaking the taboo. The Mojin had a moral red line called the Four Taboos. The most critical rule was never to take the items placed inside the cop's mouth: jade plugs, pearls, or secret objects. In Chinese belief, these are rebirth tickets that protect the soul's journey, even guiding it toward resurrection. To steal them is to rob the death of eternal life itself. The belief was that such an unforgettable violation would bring a vengeful curse, not only on the thief, but on the thief's entire bloodline. So in the end, the greatest of fear was not a ghost. It was a mix of invisible air, engineered death, and the terrifying idea that some lines, once crossed, cannot be undone. The tomb is more than a burial site. It is a meticulously crafted underground palace. It reflects a profound Chinese philosophy: serve the dead as you would serve the living. Death was not an ending. It was a move, a permanent home, with furniture, wealth, and protection. And that is why the story of the real tomb raiders is so dark. It's not only a story of stealing, it is a story about eternal tug of war between human greed and the sanctity, the path, between survival and morality, between power and memory. So tell me, if you were standing in a dark tomb, the treasures glittering just out of reach, and the Kenneth suddenly splattered and died, would you have the courage to walk away? Let me know in the comments below. This is Lulu Chinese Story, and I look forward to exploring the next Asian Chinese secret.